Ju-on the Beginning of the End, also referred to as Ju-on 3, is far from Ju-on 3. This is a reboot that sees the entire history of the series change, and puts the main focus on the now bloodthirsty Toshio. Now, let's talk about that.
I've fallen, and I can't get up!
I want to start off by saying I really enjoyed the parts of Kayako. Misaki Saisho did a wonderful job, and I think she was a great replacement for Takako Fuji, who retired the role with 2004's Grudge 2. But moving on from that, Beginning of the End is a reboot of the Ju-on series, and in this timeline, Toshio is the center of attention. Years ago, he, the eldest boy of his family, was tied up and left trapped in the closet, where he'd starved to death after 7 days. Since then, for about 10 years I believe, Toshio would kill anyone who entered his house. Whether or not he killed his past family is unknown though, or at least if that got any attention at all, it was quickly grazed over. Anyway, not long after we watched the sister of a retailer's wife get killed, the realtor sells the murder house to Takeo and Kayako. The couple loved their new home, and all they wanted to do was introduce a new member of the family who they could share the house with. Literally, all Kayako wanted was to be a mother, but every time she would lose the baby. This is just an idea of mine, but it's possible that maybe Toshio was responsible for that. Anyhow, eventually Toshio would present himself to Kayako in some way. He'd enter her body while she was asleep, and 9 months later she'd give birth to her baby boy. Over the years, as Toshio grew up, he clearly favored his mother, and made it clear he was not a fan of Takeo, and eventually, Takeo would snap. He questioned Kayako on who Toshio's real father was, assuming that it couldn't be his, and after she tells him it's hers and hers alone, he kills her, along with Mara and Toshio. The rest of the movie sees Toshio Saike's new teacher try and find out why he's been missing so much school, and we also watch a group of girls in the past enter the cursed home and get cursed by Toshio Yamada. This is a movie I was really looking forward to watching. I didn't have high expectations by any means, I just wanted a new Ju-on movie with our favorite killer ghosts. And though yes, that is what we get here, I just wasn't a big fan of how they chose to handle the story. There was just so much of a focus on Toshio, so much so that having Kayako and Takeo included almost felt forced a little bit. They already built up a story and explanation as to why Toshio was there. Realistically, Kayako and Takeo didn't need to be there. And as a matter of fact, it's surprising Toshio didn't just kill them. I mean, we don't know why he wanted to be reborn suddenly after all these years. That aside, I'm not opposed to creepy kids in horror. Obviously it can work. Look at something like The Orphan, The Ring, The Omen, another movie with "the" in the title. But Toshio really does feel like the side antagonist. Most likely because of his history of being exactly that for 7 movies. 9 counting his brief appearances in Black Ghost and White Ghost. But still, he just didn't do it for me in this. Maybe a focus on Takeo would have been cool, but I just didn't like Toshio as the main antagonist. At least not with this story. Like I said already, maybe if Kayako and Takeo weren't in this, and the main focus stayed solely on him, it could have been better, because again, with the story we get with him, it did feel forced and out of nowhere. But even regardless of that, even if those changes were made, Toshio just doesn't feel like a main antagonist, so I'm not sure if that could have saved it or not. I mean, this movie's not awful, I just don't know if it could have made it any better than how I already see it. Also worth mentioning, I didn't find him creepy in this. I know after all the previous films, most viewers are going to be used to the scares and know what to expect, but still, I don't think anything about Toshio in this was objectively creepy. I mean, he did have 1 or 2 jump scares, but even those felt kinda lame. I did really enjoy what we got with Kayako though, as I said earlier. And I also liked the new actress version of Takeo, though just like with Kayako, I have my preferences towards the original cast, but still good. I just really wasn't a fan of the story focused on Toshio. At least not with the whole Saike family here. If Kayako and Takeo are here, I want the main focus to be on Kayako, and to a degree, Takeo. I don't want brief shots of Kayako like, ooh, maybe we'll get some cool ghost action, some cool kills, some nice scares, and then not. Also, she appears as a human, and Toshio does not meow or anything, he just speaks throughout the entire thing, which isn't awful. I don't mind those types of changes, but everything is just so different. They really just kept the characters and the same basic idea for the story, and that's about it. In the end though, I would rate 2014's Ju-on the Beginning of the End a 7 out of 10. It is not a bad movie. It is just not the best of the Ju-on movies. It is better than White Ghost and Black Ghost though. If you've seen this movie, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.
Looking for more horror fun?
You're goddamn right.
Then check out the VHS comic book series, a parody of the horror genre that follows the lives of 3 teens as they fight to survive a horror movie, where every day is loaded with blood, boobs, and buds. The first 2 issues can be found in the description below.
I was obsessed with